Elias the Mage brought Chise, a little orphan neglected by society and sold into slavery at an auction, for the astounding sum of £5,000,000. Elias announced that Chise would be his apprentice. As they settled into their new house, fairies unexpectedly dropped by while Chise was taking a seemingly routine bath, and Chise learned that she was a slay beggy, a type of mage with the power to draw magical creatures to her, who may help her in times of need but whose assistance could also do harm. Chise was enticed into the woods by the fairies that evening to abduct her and avenge Elias, and Chise refused to change her mind about wanting to stay with Elias despite their best efforts, and they used this as an opportunity to educate her about the true nature of magic. Elias stated that he wanted Chise to be his wife. After 2 days of repose following her terrifying encounter with the fairies, Chise eventually awakes, and Elias leads her to a Magus shop cunningly disguised as a bookstore. Chise is shown the mysteries of alchemy by the fiery and skilled store owner, Angelica Burley, a Magus craft artificer. With the help of magical beings, Angelica demonstrates to Chise the power of magic as a force that can change reality. She even turns a crystal into a beautiful flower. After briefly remembering her mother, Chise unleashes an unstoppable wave of magical energy that causes a gorgeous sea of crystal flowers to fill Angelica's workshop, which Elias eventually manages to restrain. Chise purchases a magical knife, coat, and other potent equipment from Angelica after realizing her potential. Simon Column, who begs Elias for a favor in exchange for the church staying out of their business, meets them on their way home. However, Chise is taken hostage in Iceland by a dragon and its caregiver, Lindell, ending their tranquil journey. Chise sees a wise dragon named Uncle Nevin, who gradually changes his body into a tree when she awakens at the nesting site. Nevin shares his knowledge with Chise, telling her that dragons don't worry about dying and don't have regrets. Nevin is thankful Chise decided to live because she would have never met Elias without it. Chise recounts a period when she felt utterly alone and considered taking her own life. Nevin remembers flying with Chise as his life comes to an end. Elias laments the possibility that Chise will eventually be one of the only remaining mages as human numbers increase. Nevin thanks Chise for the happiness she offered him in his dying hours by changing into a tree covered in white blossoms and giving her a branch to use as a wand. Chise obtains insightful knowledge on leading a happy life, but she passes out just before departing after using up all of her magic and trading memories with Nevin. Chise and Elias awaken aboard a train, and a cat messenger tells them that the Cat King is waiting for them. Before meeting the Cat King, Chise learns she might be a particular person and comes across a fascinating woman. Elias begins an investigation after the Cat King reveals a problem in the realm, and Chise learns about the kingdom's past. Long ago, the first Cat King defeated a guy who enjoyed killing cats and imprisoned his depraved spirit on a remote island. Trouble starts when the mysterious woman abducts Chise and throws her into a lake. Chise encounters Mina there. She has passed away, and her husband Matthew has become insane. Chise decides to free them out of a desire to help. Thankfully, Elias saves Chise and asks her to help him purify Matthew. She is about to cast a spell, but the mystery woman and Renford, a fellow sorcerer with plans for the corrupted Matthew, stop her. Renford charges Elias with taking advantage of Chise and lying about Slay Beggy's short lifespan. The enigmatic woman named Alice clarifies the true purpose of the Beggies. They continuously produce magical power but hasten death because of the strain they place on the body. Chise rejects Renford's promise to free her and sticks with Elias. Elias keeps the witches at bay so that Chise may cast the purifying spell on Matthew. Chise observes Matthew pleading with a sorcerer to cure Mina while she is inside Matthew's head. Mina's health is restored by the sorcerer using a potion that absorbs 9 lives from cats, but when Mina drinks it, she dissolves into liquid since the sorcerer was using her to test soul manipulation magic. In the end, the Cat King killed Matthew. Because of the corruption, Mina and Matthew were trapped in the hereafter for all eternity and asked Chise to remove them from existence. The Cat King grants her 9 lifetimes to be their guide, but Chise transports Mina and Matthew to the afterlife, where they are reunited after a long separation. Chise finds herself wondering how much longer she has as she observes them. After purifying Matthew's soul, Renford and Alice leave to confront the sorcerer who killed Mina. Chise learns from Elias that she only has 3 years left to live, but he has a strategy to save her. Chise promises to stick by him to the finish. They eat Titania, queen of the fairies, and King Oberon when she awakens, despite Oberon's opinion that Chise and Elias won't have children after she passes out for 2 weeks to replenish her power. Chise unexpectedly approaches Elias. Titania and Oberon predict Chise and Elias' destiny as they depart. Chise regrets not meeting Elias sooner, but he promises to heal her and spend a lifetime with her. Cardophilius warns Renford that if he fails again, he will experiment on Alice. To lessen Chise's magical output, Elias assigns her to look into a potentially deadly grim in a local cemetery. She receives a unique ring from Elias. They find a young woman's body in the cemetery, and a menacing magical beast assaults Chise. The beast is crushed by a young guy who intervenes to save her before he collapses from bite wounds. Unexpectedly, the young man changes into the grim they were looking for. Chise's sleeping medicine puts Alice to sleep while she tries to take the grim. The grim, Eurus, is unable to recall who hurt him. Alice reveals Cardophilius's scheme to transform Eurus into a chimera. Elias shows up and decides Eurus is not dangerous. Alice begs Elias to assist them in their fight against Cardophilius, who has previously killed a woman with an illusion he manufactured. Elias concurs, knowing that the church will ask him to step in at some point. However, before they can take any further action, Cardophilius strikes Chise. During their encounter, Elias battles Cardophilius' praying mantis chimera, and Chise connects to Eurus's memories of Isabel. Elias is about to murder the chimera when Chise breaks out of her trance and tries to stop him. When Renford shows up and shoots Cardophilius, Elias changes back into a human. However, Cardophilius reanimates and calls forth a chimera spider. Chise uses magic to call tarantula hawks to attack the illusion, but Elias stops her because using such magic is against the law. A will-o'-the-wisp emerges out of nowhere and teleports them away. Eurus finally agrees to become Chise's familiar, now known as Ruth, after hearing a speech from the will-o'-the-wisp about clinging to the past. Ruth successfully overcomes the chimera with Chise's assistance when Alice shoots Cardophilius' arm off. Cardophilius acknowledges that he is always looking for a method to break the curse of his unending suffering. Blue Flame assists in leading the chimera's spirits to the afterlife as Renford and Alice depart. Following the incident involving Cardophilius, Elias withdraws into his bedroom and avoids social interaction. Silver, the fairy housekeeper, asks Silky and Ruth to go shopping in town, where they meet Angelica. Chise recognizes that she is correct and Angelica points out her reliance on Elias. Later, Chise discovers Elias in his room still in his human form and spends the rest of the night with him. The next day, Elias disappears without saying anything, forcing Chise and Ruth to look for him. A Lianenstee, a fairy that feeds on a human's life power but haunts a wise man named Joel without stealing his life force, is encountered by Chise as he is wondering. The Lianenstee kisses Chise for telling her to visit Joel someday despite the Lianenstee's denial that she feels anything for Joel. Chise ultimately locates Elias in the jungle, and the two argue. Soon later, a very familiar brings a letter from Lindell asking Chise to visit the dragons. Elias makes a vow to tell everything when he is ready. Chise has trouble managing her power, so Lindell offers to make a wand for her out of Uncle Nevin's tree. Chise is concerned that she and Ruth will be separated from Elias when Lindell extends an invitation to the dragon land without him. Elias, meanwhile, is left feeling empty at home without Chise. He speaks with Adolf Stroud, a college administrator who wants to discuss Chise's future, via a mystical messenger bird. Chise and Ruth look for a suitable branch to serve as her wand while she is staying with Lindell. Lindell tells Elias about his past, including how they first met ages ago and how Rahab mistakenly referred to Elias as Lindell's disciple. Only the color red is recalled by Elias from his past. Later, Renford meets Elias and threatens to end Chise's life unless he takes action. Lindell talks about his training of Elias and how difficult it was for him to understand people. In another episode, the speaker also discloses that Elias nearly killed 3 locals who attacked Lindell. Chise admits that despite this, she had never been terrified of Elias. Lindell counsels Chise to be honest with Elias about her feelings. While Lindell sings a lovely tune that makes flowers grow, Chise carves Nevin's branch into a wand. Chise unintentionally casts a little spell during this time, enabling her to see Elias. Elias expresses his loneliness without her, and Chise commits to go home after using the wand. Later, Lindell compares himself to a parent of 2 kids. Elias killed the magical bird when Renford and Adolph warned him about the future, as suggested by Silver's burial of the bird. While Chise is gone, working with Lindell to carve her wand, Elias muses over his growing attachment to her. After finishing it, they use a new spell recited by Lindell to fill the wand with magical diamonds and Chise's hair. Chise, holding the wand, sees Uncle Nevin in the afterlife. Nevin advises Chise to consider her career goals and assures her he appreciates her mother's protection. Chise confesses to Nevin her growing affection for Elias and her anxiety that he might no longer want her around. She joyously declares that she has something to tell Elias when she awakes and magically transforms into a giant phoenix to fly back to him. Elias is ecstatic when she returns because he feels comfortable in their house. Chise, however, passes out from tiredness before she can convey her news. After 2 days, she wakes up with genuine happiness for the first time in years after having a wonderful dream about spending time with her parents. Thanks for watching. If this series is the most liked in my anime recap production, I will make a part 2. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to help me make more content.